Hi and welcome to our Stompy lesson. So in this lesson, I'm going to teach you exactly how to use Stompy. And if you have heard of Stompy before and it completely confused you, I think the best way to start this is for you to forget everything you've ever heard about Stompy before so that we can start on a clean page so that we can see if maybe this explanation will clear up a few things for you. So Stompy is basically an acronym. Basically, this was created to help English students understand Afrikaans sentence structure. And basically, if you add the V1 or verb 1 in here, it basically falls apart and doesn't create a meaning. But if you just pull them down, then it just becomes Stompy. Stompy is really easy to remember. And basically, all teachers who teach Afrikaans first additional language use this method to make it easier for you to understand and also um, basically remember Afrikaans sentence structure. So before we move forward, I want to tell you a small secret, and that's the fact that because I was in an Afrikaans school, we basically like the language kind of came naturally to us. So I did not find out about Stompy up until I was teaching English students. So the person who explained it to me explained it so well that I never had a problem with it afterwards. Like I just couldn't believe that I went basically through my entire high school without knowing it. So I think that the best way to learn it is to not be super hung up about what it is, but to just let it come naturally to you. So the way that it is being used is for you to understand that the subject always comes first, and then there's time, object, manner, place, and then there's verb 2 over here as well as the infinitive. All right, so just like I quickly ran through it, S stands for subject, T stands for time, O stands for object, M stands for manner, P stands for place, and I stands for infinitive. We're not going to do a lot of infinitive, but I'll show you how it fits into the equation. So, subject is the person or the thing doing something. So, it can be papa, mama, die kind, basically all humans, or it can be a thing, die papier, die dier, die olifant. It can be an animal and also a thing. So time, today, tomorrow, this afternoon, vandag, morgen, vanmiddag. So basically whenever something is happening, the time thereof, and then object, the thing that's being done. Ben scooped the ball, the ball is the thing being kicked. Okay. Then manner, how it's being done, like is it hard, is it soft, is it lazily, is it in a fun way. Basically it describes how something's being done. Place, where is it being done? Okay, at home, by the ice, op die rugbyveld, on the rugby field, etc., etc. Then we have infinitive, and this is is basically after verb 2, and it indicates something that indicates like a verb that has no time basically barrier. It goes into eternity because we don't know when it's gonna end or when it's gonna start, but it's in the future. A basic sentence is going to sound like this. It has a subject, verb 1, and the object. So it has the thing or the person doing something, the thing that's being done, and what it's being done to. So this is what I would call a basic sentence. Ben scooped the ball, and Ben is the subject, scoop is verb 1, and the ball is going to be our object, the thing being done. Then this is something I learned very early on, never forgot it, and it's the fact that in order for a sentence to exist, it must at least have a subject and a verb. That's why in Afrikaans, when you have the shortest sentence, it will look like this. Papa eet. This is a valid sentence because it has a subject and a verb. So this is the smallest that a sentence can be. But even if you are given the sentence, it is a valid sentence because it has the two things that are needed to create a sentence. Then this is a huge common misconception about sentences that look like this, and that's the fact that is can be verb 1, that's the first part. And secondly, die kar is rooi. Rooi describes die kar. Die kar is a noun. Okay, so in Afrikaans and in English, when something describes a noun, it's an adjective. So most students actually think that this is an object, but it's actually not the thing being done. It's just this describing the car. So just be careful about knowing the difference between an object and an adjective. Now let's add some spice to this. We're going to add time. So Maria speel vandag tennis. Lots of people are tempted to put vandag at the end, but that is not the correct Afrikaans structure. So regardless of how it sounds like to you, this is the correct structure. So it has to start with the subject and then verb 1. This is a sentence in the present tense. And then vandag, which is our time, and then our object is tennis. Let's add manner and place. So now the party's getting bigger. Ben skop die bal hoog. Hoog indicates how something was done, which is manner, and then op die rugbyveld indicates where it was done, and that is going to be our place. Again, regardless of what it sounds like, this is what it needs to look like. Now, let's quickly address verlede tyd. So remember with verlede tyd, you're going to have het and ge. So that brings rise to our verb to. Okay, so in most of the time, when we're doing sentences in the present tense, we don't have verb to unless we have a hulpwerkwoord. But when it comes to verlede tyd, now we have a verb 1 and a verb 2. But as you can see, the structure still holds itself together. In this case, we don't have time. So what comes after time? Object. We don't have manner. We don't have place. So what comes after that? It's verb 2. All right, now we're getting bigger. Okay, so now I've added all the other adverbs, but I wanted to show you that even if we do that, except infinitive, even if we do that, the sentence structure must stay the same. So Ben is our subject still. Het is going to be our verb 1 because this is a sentence in the past tense. Vandag is going to be our time. Die bal is our object. Hart is our manner. Op die rugbyveld is our place, the whole thing on the rugby field. Geskop is going to be our verb 2. So the reason why I added everything is so that you can see that we can't do what we want. We have to do what the rules say. And again, people are very tempted to move vandag to the end. It just destroys your sentence structure completely. You have to start over. Toekomende tyd. So remember with toekomende tyd, you're going to add sal, and then your verb 2 is not going to have a ge because ge is for the past, right? So Ben sal later vandag die bal hard op die rugbyveld skop. I love the sentence because it has the full stompie in it except infinitive. Okay. Now I wanted to show you what infinitive is going to look like. So Ben sal die bal hard op die rugbyveld skop. So this is the end. This is verb 2. And then om 'n 3 te druk. So whenever your teacher talks about om te, she means om te. That's why there's that dot there because it has to come with like a word in between, and then after the te, it's gonna be the verb itself. Okay, so the reason, te the verb. Okay, this is the basically like infinitive that you can get. There's also behoort te, and I forgot the last one. There's 3 of them that you have to know if you are studying first additional language. And that's basically that. I think that if you start here with your stompie, you need to practice it now. So now that you know where everything needs to be, you need to look at a couple of sentences. I would suggest that you get like grade 4 basic books, even if you're in grade 9, so that you can just see the structure in action. Because if you don't do that, each time that you have a bigger sentence, especially if you're in the higher grades, it will look like they're trying to trick you, but they are not. You might just not know what certain words mean. For example, later vanmiddag, which means later this afternoon. That you need to know that that whole thing means time. I mean, means yes, time. You might have something like an oorskop se plase. That whole thing means place. So you have to practice to see it and identify it before you can tackle your grade papers, because if you don't, you're going to this is a basic lesson, remember. So if you don't practice it with basic sentences, whenever you see a sentence that's meant for your grade, it's going to make you panic and make you feel like Stompy doesn't exist in it. But trust me, no matter how long the sentence is, Stompy is in there. Remember that when you are reading books from, let's say, grade 7 to 9, they start adding there's simple sentences, then there's complex sentences. So if a sentence is complex, it means it has more than one verb in it. Okay. If they add a conjunction, that means that it's two sentences being combined by a conjunction. Do you understand? So if you don't teach yourself to look at this lesson from a basic perspective and then work yourself up to more complex sentences, it will feel like this lesson is not effective. But it is only if you practice with basic or small sentences first. Once you're able to identify it in that, you'll be able to now start with complex sentences or combined sentences. I'm saying this to you because I feel like sometimes you can expect like too much from a basic lesson, because this is where I have to start explaining it. But it is not applicable for the higher grades because your sentences are mostly complex. Okay, I think in my second part of this Stompy lesson, I will add real life sentences so that you can see what I'm talking about. All right, I think that is all. That is all there is to this, I'm telling you. All right, I need a quick favor. So I found out that 95% of you guys are not subscribed. If you've ever gotten um, any value from any of these videos, please subscribe so that I can grow this channel to the next level. I really do appreciate all your comments and your shares and your likes and everything awesome that you guys do. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.